Ben back yet?
Oh, no, he and Laurie are still out to lunch. Well, how did things go with Dr. Greeley?
Oh, very well. Would you hang that up for me, please? Yeah, he looked at the x-rays of Mr. Burkhardt and agreed with my recommendation that we postpone surgery until we see what the medication can do.
Oh, well, that must have relieved Mr. Burkhardt very much.
I'm sure. Well, it looks like you've been holding down the fort. Any problems?
No problems. But I do have some good news.
That I always like to hear.
Laurie gave Gene that interview he's been wanting this morning.
Oh, so Ben finally came around, huh?
No, actually, it was Laurie's idea when she realized how Gene's article might help other women. She was all for it.
I'll tell you, Ione, after all that girl's been through, I'd say her recovery was coming along just fine.
Praise God, yes. But you know something? There's something that Laurie told Gene that struck me as kind of peculiar.
Oh, what was that?
You know, she's still convinced that she was actually raped.
Yeah, well, sometimes the mind can play funny tricks.
Oh, that it does, too. That it does. Now, what does she want? Oh. Well, Miss Lawson, what brings you here today?
Dr. Phillips, hello.
Is there something we can do to help you?
Well, isn't it obvious? Look, I need medical attention right away.
Well, that is quite a shiner. When did that happen?
Yesterday.
Well, you really should have had your doctor take a look at it then.
Well, why do you think I'm here? I wanted the best medical treatment in town. Of course, I don't usually get down to this neighborhood, but I wouldn't dream of having anyone else but you take care of it for me.
All this and for free, too. Oh, this is your lucky day.
Stacy, you know, I've been thinking about that pink sweater. It's just not right for me. Why don't you take it?
Mom, that's okay, really.
Honestly, dear, it would look better on you. I don't know why I bought it.
Mom, there's something I want to ask you.
And with that black velvet skirt I got you for Christmas, you would be a knockout.
Maybe Amber would like it.
Oh, Amber. Clothes are the last thing in the world that girl needs. She has enough wardrobe to start a boutique.
Mom, there's something I've got to talk to you about. Do you believe Dad's changed?
Well, from everything you've told me, it certainly sounds as if he has.
What about Amber's opinion?
Well, I listened to everyone's opinion concerning your father, but I don't believe I have a full picture yet from anyone.
Then you should see for yourself.
Now, Stacy, I know what you're getting at, but I just don't think it would be a good idea to see your father at this point.
Why not?
Because you're harboring hopes of some kind of reconciliation. You say he's changed. I'm glad. But in case you haven't noticed, I've changed too. Quite a lot in the past few years. I'm happy that he's quit drinking, that he's working again. But dear, that doesn't necessarily mean that we would have anything in common at this stage of the game.
Maybe that's true. But all I'm asking is that you give him and yourself a chance. Remember what you used to tell me? There's always hope. It's true.
But this is different.
Is it?
Look, Stacy, you've got to realize that we can't turn the clock back 4 years. We can't just pick up from where we left off.
I'm not asking that. I'm asking that you take a look at the man he is now, that's all. I think you'll be impressed. The clinic's doing such fine things for people in that neighborhood.
That's in Chesterfield, isn't it?
You should see it, Mom. Ever since it opened, the place has been jammed. The need is tremendous.
Your father must feel very good about working there.
He does. He's really dedicated.
Sounds like the Dave Phillips I knew 25 years ago. So idealistic and full of fire. He was going to do such great things.
You do still care about him.
Now, Stacy, don't start getting any ideas. There's nothing left between your father and me. Nothing.
Well, I must say I'm flattered that you remember me, Miss...
Lawson.
Oh, right, Lawson, Nancy Lawson.
Yeah.
It's been quite a long time. It was your sister's office, wasn't it?
Yes, it's one of those things I can be thankful to her for, was meeting you.
Thank you.
Well, it's not every day one gets to meet someone as handsome and talented as you and with such a delightful bedside manner.
Oh, talented and good looking. That's our Dr. Phillips, all right.
I know, please.
Well, we're just speaking the truth, Dave. I mean, a man of your accomplishments should be used to all this flattery.
Miss Lawson's right. Dr. Phillips has women all over Kingsley flattering him, and it's too bad he only has eyes for just one, his wife.
I thought you were divorced.
Well, I am, but...
But God hates divorce. There's always hope for reconciliation.
Oh, well, not in my case.
Oh, that's for sure. How many times has it been, dear?
Doctor, you really must do something about my eye. It's just really been giving me trouble.
Well, why don't you go to the examining room and I'll take a look at it.
Oh, in the examining room? Okay.
I'll be there in a minute.
I wouldn't worry too much about that one for sure. Everybody in Kingsley has had to get used to Nancy Lawson. You will too in time.
I'm beginning to see that. That dressing gown won't be necessary, Miss Lawson.
Oh, well, I saw it right over there,
Let's
and
take a
I
look at
just
this
figured
eye,
that...
all right? Okay, here. Wow, that looks good.
Good. Looks terrible.
I meant internally. How'd this happen anyway?
Oh, it was a clear-cut case of assault, but I'm not going to bore you with the details. The woman will get it anyway.
Well, there's no bleeding anyway. Do you have any trouble with your vision?
No, none at all.
Well, that's it then. You're free to go. There's nothing more I can do.
Nothing?
Well, it'll just take time to heal. It's just like any other bruise. Oh, you might try putting a piece of steak on it. That might help.
Steak? I can't even afford a hamburger.
I have the rope. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much.
How do you know nothing would come of it?
Because I know myself and I know your father.
But I keep telling you, he's changed.
All right, maybe I don't know. Maybe it's just a defense mechanism on my part. But I just don't want either of us to get our hopes up again. I've been through this too often with Dave before.
This is different.
Is it? It is amazing how differently you and Amber view the past. She remembers all the broken promises your father made about not drinking anymore. And you? Well, maybe it's because you were younger.
Or maybe it was harder on Amber than it was on me.
Perhaps. All I'm saying is that you've got to be realistic about this. I have my life, and your father has his.
Why does Amber still hate him so much?
Because he hurt her very deeply. He hurt all of us.
But he's our father. Nothing can change that.
No.
Mom, he's hurt me too. And I don't know if I've completely forgiven him. But I know I still love him. Even more now that I've seen the man he's become.
Do you think we could leave this subject for a moment? I would really love to know more about your work.
Well, sure. But only if you promise me one thing.
All right, Stacy, what is it?
That you'll at least think about seeing Daddy again.
All right, I promise. I'll think about it.
You want to count it?
Count it. Why should I count it?
Well, it should be about $2,000 in there. then.
How do you figure that, Weaver?
Just a guess, Ron. You want me to check it to be sure?
No, that won't be necessary. I have an accountant and a bookkeeper for just that very purpose. Your job is to make the connections and pick up the cash. Is there any problems with that?
No problem that any delivery boy couldn't handle.
Yeah, well, what if one of our dealers doesn't have the payoff? Then there's a problem, right?
Yeah, well, listen, Ron, I've already considered that.
I'm sure that you have considered that. But with someone like Blue Nobles or Lance, for that matter, muscle isn't enough for this game anymore. I need someone who can think on their feet. That's what I like about you, Weaver.
Yeah, well, thanks a lot. Appreciate it. But you got any more pickups for me this afternoon?
No, not today. However, there's still that matter that I mentioned earlier. Now, this is a list of people whose loans come due next week. I want you to give them a little reminder, shall we say. Now, most of these people are small timers, like I said, like this Hank Wallace for $250, Greg Dawson, $600. Boy, some of these small-time junkies nickel and dime us to death. We really ought to do something about that. Now, here's Tina Cook, $1,000. And you shouldn't have too much trouble with her because she's one of our girls. Nancy Lawson for $500. Now, this girl may need a little extra incentive. Since she's new, some of these new timers don't understand exactly how we operate.
Hey, no problem. I'll take care of it, okay?
Okay, the names and addresses, everything's right there on the list. Just make sure you let them know that we mean business.
Like I said, no problem.
Now, after you're finished with that job, I may have something else for you, Weaver. Something a little different.
Like what?
Well, I can't give you the details right now, but I think you can handle it. Especially since you did a good job taking care of Blue. I'll let you know when I have all the particulars about it. Get that for me, will you?
Oh, hello, Russ. I thought you told me you had to take care of some business this afternoon.
All the business is taken care of, Vince. Russ just got back with the day's take from all the drop points.
Oh, good.
Well, look, I better get going.
No, wait a minute. Don't rush off. Russ just got a list of all the clients whose payments come due next week.
Oh, good. I want you to make sure that he gets a feeling for all the aspects of this business.
Well, he's a good man, Vince. You should be very proud of him.
Oh, I am indeed.
You know, Vince, the more I see of Russ, the more he reminds me of you.
Oh, really? I didn't ever think there was much of a resemblance.
Well, it's not so much the looks. It's the moves he makes. I think he's going to be a very valuable asset to our organization.
Oh, Peter.
Caught you goofing off again, huh?
Well, I just don't know what it is. I just can't concentrate today.
Hey, the same thing happened to me right in the middle of an English exam.
Oh, no.
Yeah, tell me about it. It was a disaster. And if I don't pull at least a B on that exam, it's trouble.
Well, at least if you flunk an exam, you can always make it up. I wish it was that easy if you flunk in a personal relationship.
Marianne, you gotta get your mind off of Russ.
I know. I can't stop thinking about him. Peter, I know I was right in breaking up with him. I just can't help feel that I could have done more to understand him.
I know how you feel.
Do you really?
Yeah, it's like me and Vicky. I still like Vicky, and she likes me. At least I think she does.
Oh, of course she does.
But you gotta face facts. We're from two completely different worlds. I mean, at least the way we were brought up.
Do you think that really matters?
Yeah, it does. It's kind of hard to explain, but see, Vicky, you never know where she's coming from. You know what I mean?
Unfortunately, I do.
Yeah. Well, we have different values. I know what's right and wrong, but she has kind of a different outlook.
Yeah, it's not easy, is it?
I know it's wrong, but I still feel the same about her. You know, down deep inside.
Peter, you're terrific.
I am? Oh, well, yeah. And what'd I say?
Well, that's exactly how I feel. I just wish I had a brother who was as sensitive and understanding as you are.
Marianne. And, you know, so many girls think I'm a brother type. You know, that makes it really hard when I want to date.
Well, Peter, I don't think that's true.
It isn't? Then look at Gil's track record, and then look at mine, right? Figures speak for themselves.
I think your boy's blushing, Vince.
Well, I don't want to embarrass you, Russ, but you can't blame a father for being proud.
Oh, look, I better get going so I can start this stuff right away, okay?
That's what I like about him, Vince. The kid's all business.
Just want to get started.
All right, just remember we're doing these people a favor by lending them money. There isn't a bank in town that would touch any of them.
Yeah, there isn't a bank in town that would charge the kind of interest that we're charging either.
We take these people on their word alone. If the word isn't good, that's where you come in, right?
Well, I'll make sure they understand the consequences, Ron, okay?
It's not like we can take them to court and force them to pay, is it, Vince?
Hardly.
Yeah, well, I'll see you later, Vince.
Right. Good luck.
That kid isn't gonna need luck, Vince. He's a natural.
Yeah, you really mean that, don't you?
I'm gonna level with you, Vince. When you first talked about bringing Russ aboard, I had doubts. Serious doubts. But in the short time he's been with us, I am very impressed.
Boy's done all right for himself,
He's
huh?
done more than all right. You don't find a kid with instincts like that every day. There aren't many old-timers that have accomplished what he has in such a short time.
Well, I'm glad to hear it.
I've decided to make him second in command, Vince. From now on, he'll answer only to me.
What about Lance?
Lance? He hasn't done much to prove that he's a valuable member of our organization. Of course, there's still that job which was recently vacated by Blue Nobles. I think I'll put him on that for a while.
You sure that's wise?
I've given the matter a great deal of thought, and Lance has been a wise guy. This might be just the thing to straighten him up.
Well, as long as you've considered all the ramifications, it's all right with me.
Well, I thought that Russ and I were right. I mean, that he would change and that I could help lead him to the Lord. But I was wrong, Peter. And that is why I am determined not to let my heart rule over my head this time. Why don't we try to get some work done this afternoon?
Work?
Yes, you do remember what that means, don't you, Gil?
Oh.
Morning, boss.
Now, don't start giving me a hard time this early in the day.
Early?
Hey, I was over at the site. I told you I was going to be there.
Hey, how are things stacking up over there?
Oh, man, you should see it. Things are looking good. Everything's falling right into place.
Oh, yeah? Yeah. Did you get Jake to do the subcontract?
I sure
Okay.
did. Well, once he agreed to, fitting his schedule into mine.
Where were you last night, Gil?
What?
I said, where were you last night, Gil?
Now, since when has my personal life become any of your concern? Huh? I mean, that's what you always tell me, don't you?
Okay, I'm sorry. I just didn't see your car last night. Well, why are you in such a good mood today?
Well, let's just say everything is going better than I imagined, on that Canterbury project. What I want to know is why aren't you celebrating with me? I mean, this project is great.
And I think it's terrific. It's the biggest thing since Hollister Mall. I mean, everybody says so.
I know I haven't included you much on this project, but I hope you understand, I mean, I feel it's like my baby. I got the bid and got the contract and set up all the production schedules, so. But I'll tell you what, how about going out to dinner with me tonight? Matter of fact, 3 of us, huh? Let's celebrate. We deserve it. You up for it?
Yeah. What about Amber?
Well, don't worry about Amber. I'll take good care of her.
Oh, hi, Mom.
Hi, honey.
Did you have a good day?
Oh, not bad. How was your lunch with Mary Ann?
Oh, she couldn't make it, so I had lunch with Ben instead.
Oh.
Mom, the neatest thing happened to me today. When I was waiting for Ben at the clinic, Gene Redlin interviewed me for a story that he wants to do.
Really?
Yeah, it's an article about how women can protect themselves from rape, and he wants to use my experience as an example.
Oh, well, I knew he wanted to do an article about it, but what about Ben?
Oh, don't worry. Ben and I have agreed. My name's not going to be in the paper or anything like that. Oh, I don't know, Mom. I just feel like other women should know what I went through that night. I mean, who knows? Maybe if I'd listened to Ben and Sergeant Brubaker's warnings beforehand, I wouldn't have had to have gone through this nightmare.
I'm sure it wasn't easy for you to talk about it again, but I'm proud of you for going through with it. You know what? The old Lori I know and love is starting to show her concern for others again.
Well, I think that's what convinced Ben to let me talk to Gene.
I'm very proud of you, Lori. I think it was a wonderful thing to do. Are you reminiscing?
Oh, yeah, just a little,
Oh, I love to look through this, too.
Yeah.
Reminds me of the good times and of all the joys that Scott and I shared. Oh, you were such a beautiful baby.
Yeah, I gotta admit, I was pretty cute.
Yeah, and modest, too.
Yeah, that too.
Oh, honey, you turned from a beautiful baby into a beautiful woman.
Yeah, well, after all that's happened, it's pretty hard for me to feel beautiful.
Sweetheart, in time, those memories are going to heal. I know what you went through was horrible, but at least know that the Lord kept you from being raped.
Mom, I wish you and everyone else would stop covering up. I mean, all those weeks that I was at the hospital, you tried to hide the fact from me that I was raped. I mean, you and Dr. Diederiksen and Ben. And then I've come home and you're all still insisting that nothing has happened. I mean, you talk about the medical tests and the lab tests. Well, let's just get to the point and quit pretending. Enough is enough.
Honey, nobody is covering up. It's true. When Ben was in the hall, he heard you screaming. He got to the doorway of the classroom, and Blue Nobles attacked him. By the time he got to you, you were unconscious. There was no way you could remember.
Mom,
Now listen. When they took you to the hospital, they gave you a complete physical examination. There were lab tests. There was no evidence that you were raped.
Mom, I don't know. Okay, maybe I lost consciousness. I don't know. I'm confused, and I just don't know who to believe anymore.
It's no wonder. After everything you've been through. Oh, honey, listen. Everything's going to be back to normal real soon. Just you wait and see.